I'm pretty sure you're wondering why I've just cut a brand new drill in half. I promise you I haven't gone mad. If you're like me, you probably have one or two sets of drills that you use. The ones that I have aren't exactly expensive, but they do get the job done. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. For most work that I do, they do get the job done. However, when you use them in a lathe or a mill, you will notice that they aren't exactly rigid. It mostly comes down to the amount of material that is removed to create the flutes. There just isn't much material left in the drill, and as a result, it's very easy for the drill to flex. And that's why it's so important to spot drill, so the drill doesn't end up wandering. You can of course buy split point drills. The tip is ground to reduce wandering, but I'm not a huge fan of them, simply because they are very difficult to resharpen in a home workshop. And that's where this comes in. This is a screw machine or stub length drill. The flutes are about 40% shorter than a typical jobber drill, and as a result, they are a lot more rigid. These are very common in CNC machines because you don't typically need to spot drill unless you need high accuracy, and that's the reason why I have this one. It used to be in a 4-axis CNC machine, though that was a while ago, and I have over the years had to grind away the split point. And this is the reason for the video. I think that these are a great addition for any home workshop. The rule of thumb is always to use the shortest drill that you can, unless you really need the extra length that a full-size jobber drill offers. I would always recommend that you use these. Plus, these are a lot easier to use on smaller machines. The only problem is, finding an affordable set of these is not easy. I'm not sure if it's an issue with the supply, but I know there used to be an affordable 19-piece set, but at the moment, the cheapest I can find is about $200. And $200 on a set of drills is pretty expensive for what I would consider a hobby. You would think that for having less material, they would be cheaper, but here we are. And that's why I ended up chopping this drill in half. I bought this set for $19 on sale. The quality is okay for the price, but don't take that for an endorsement. I was curious if you could just cut some off-the-shelf drills down and regrind them. It seems pretty straightforward, so let's see if it works. I marked out the drill and cut 40% of the flutes off. I'm going to grind in the new cutting edge using the bench grinder. Now, by no means am I an expert on this. All I'm trying to do is form the 118-degree profile, and then I'll add some basic relief. I'm starting to see a problem though, starting with the split point drill. I was aware that the web, the material in the center of the drill, increases drastically on a split point drill in a bid to aid rigidity, though I was really surprised by just how thick the web gets. And it doesn't matter how much web thinning I do, this drill is not going to drill straight. As a backup, I tried the same modification on a standard 118-degree drill, and already I can tell that the web is a lot thinner. Testing the part showed some very promising results. Even without a split point, there was minimal walking and the drill cut very nicely. To really test how good it was, I drilled two 9mm holes 14mm apart, and the thickness of the material between the holes was almost spot on 5mm. For super precise work, I'd still spot drill first, but for less accurate drilling, this is really decent. Now that I have a 10mm and 9mm drill, I'll have to make some more. I cut down an 8.5, 8, 7 and 6mm drill. I don't want to use 9.5, 7.5 and 6.5 because I just don't use them enough and it doesn't warrant making stub drills from them. And I tend to pilot drill with anything above 10mm, so I don't think I'll need to make anything larger. And the set turned out really nicely. They cut a lot nicer than they used to, and they don't tend to walk. I also cut down a 5mm drill to see if I could make a stub drill with it, however the web was much larger than I thought and it would not make a good drill. With the drill set complete, I'll quickly make up a drill stand or index from a cut-off of mild steel. Whilst making it, I made a small mistake drilling the 8.5mm hole. I moved the drill over in a bid to save the work, and to my surprise, the drill was able to drill downwards and save the hole. If I tried the same thing with a jobber drill, the drill would probably flex and end up cutting at an angle. I'll probably end up machining away that mistake. Thankfully, all the drills are nice and tight in their holes, except for the 8mm, though that probably says a lot more about my grinding than anything else. It's a little uneven, so I'll have to go back and correct it. Overall, this didn't turn out so bad. I turned a $15 set of OK drill bits into very usable stub drills. I should say that I'm not advocating for you to go out and chop your drills in half. I think if you can find an affordable set of stub drills, I think you should get those, but make sure you get them for a decent price. They're certainly worth having in a workshop. However, in a pinch, and if you have a set of drills that you never use, this might be something to consider. Just make sure the web isn't too thick. On a final note, I will say that twist drills do have a very slight back taper to prevent the drills getting stuck in deep holes. This stub drill will be drilling a slightly smaller hole, though I don't think it's saying that you should be able to noticeably measure, and for really accurate holes, you should always ream it. And that's about it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned something new, and with that, I'll see you in the next one.